Hello lovelies, and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, welcome. I am so excited for today's video. I know that I am a little bit late to the party on this one, but my husband and I recently watched all the way through all 5 seasons of Stranger Things, and it was so much fun and just really fun just to share something enjoyable with him and get to watch a really cool show. I was very late to it. I did not start until I think after season 5 had come out, so we were definitely behind. He had watched some of it before and finally got me into watching it with him, and it was a really good show. I thought the quality was great. They put so much into all of the sets and the characters and the designs and everything. It is a really neat show. So if you've not seen it, if you are interested in mysteries and thrillers or even in the 80s, then this is definitely the show for you. And so I saw that on ColourPop's website, they had a couple of their products from their Stranger Things collection that were still available and were on sale. And so I picked up these 2 items from ColourPop.com. They had a chrome liquid eyeshadow duo and then a lip gloss trio. And so I got those on a really good sale. But of course, the piece de resistance to this entire collection is the eyeshadow palette. And so my husband and I looked online and we were able to find, I think it was on eBay or another site like that, we were able to find someone was selling the eyeshadow palette, and so I went ahead and scooped this up. I got it on a great deal. So I have the eyeshadow palette as well as these other 2 pieces to this collection, and I'm really excited to go through all 3 of these today. We're going to take lots of swatches. We're going to take closer looks at each one of these, all of the color stories, all of the colors that are available, and I'm going to show you how I created this entire look today. I can't wait to get started, so come along with me and let's make up the rules. The first item that we're going to take a look at from the ColourPop and Stranger Things collection is going to be the Chrome Liquid Eyeshadow Duo. This is called the Monster. It is really cool packaging. It's got the Demogorgon on the outside, very creepy. And then on the inside there are 2 liquid shadows. This one is called Humanoid and this one is called Interdimensional. And so there are just 2 really beautiful shades in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these out of the box and we'll take a closer look at the actual applicators. So this first one that we're going to look at, this one is Interdimensional. It is a really pretty shade. And then the applicators on the inside are going to just be small little foam applicators. They're just kind of flat looking. So those are going to be really good to apply across the lid. So this one, like I said, is Interdimensional. And then the second one is called Humanoid. And this one has, looks like a little bit more red in it. I have not swatched these yet, so I'm not sure exactly how they're going to look. But again, it's got just a little foam applicator. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at these 2 chrome liquid eyeshadows. Both of these liquid shadows are so pretty. I really enjoy getting to take the swatches and getting to see really the difference in the 2. They look somewhat similar in the bottles, and so getting to actually see them on the skin, you can really start to see a lot of those fine differences between the 2. And I took a couple of different videos of the swatches. I took one with all of my lights on, and you can just kind of see just sort of the texture and just really that just kind of base of each one of them. The shade that is called Humanoid is going to be a little bit more, it looks like shifty from red to green to sort of a gold shade, and then Interdimensional is going to be a little bit more of a blue and purple with a little bit of silver sparkle in it. Those are the shades that I could see when I took the swatches, and so as I was looking at them with all of my lights on, I could see mostly just sort of a foil kind of finish to it, and then really just seeing just kind of that base color. But then I turned all of my lights off and I just put a flashlight on them as I filmed, and you could really in the dark start to see a lot more of those fine glitter particles and really start to see the difference in both of these shades and how they perform. And they are both absolutely gorgeous. They have so much shift to them, and like I said, you can really start to see sort of that shift from red to green, and then that shift from sort of blue to purple with that little bit of silver in there. They are both absolutely gorgeous. So both of these swatch beautifully. I'm really excited to see how they perform form on the eyes. They dried down pretty quickly and they dried down really well. When I tried to wipe them off with the makeup wipe, it took a little bit of effort to get them off, so they are very just sturdy. They will definitely stay on for whatever look you put together, so I think they're really good quality. They are beautiful, and I'm really excited to see these in a look. And then I'm also really excited to go ahead and jump into the lip glosses. One of my favorite parts about this Stranger Things collection is the packaging on the lip gloss trio. This is so cute. I love the design on this. The entire package is called Talk to Me. Of course, this represents the scenes in the show where Joyce is trying to talk to Will and putting up the Christmas lights all in her house, writing the alphabet on the walls. So this is so cute. There is so much creativity in this design. Like I said, the entire package is called Talk to Me, and then we have 3 beautiful shades in here. This red shade here is called Where Are You? The yellow shade is called Right Here, and the blue shade is called Run. So I think it is just so creative. It definitely just captures that scene where Joyce is talking to Will through the walls and really getting to start to see all of the letters light up. So I just think it is so creative how they created these openings that look like light bulbs, and then you can see these beautiful glittery glosses on the inside. So I'm really excited to go ahead and pop these out of the package, and we'll take a closer look at each one and start to take some swatches. And the creativity on the package doesn't just stop on the outside. Even when you take the actual lip glosses out, you can see the wallpaper with the lettering on the inside of the box, which I think is so fun and so cool, and another creative use of these little Christmas light cutouts that they have. And then when you take them out, all 3 of the glosses come on this little piece of cardboard, and it also looks like the wall and the letters and the wallpaper and everything. So I think it's really cute and really creative. And then I really like the packaging on these lip glosses. I think they're really fun. The glitter on the inside is so pretty, and then just kind of that rounded shape definitely continues that theming of the light bulb. So I think it just looks really, really pretty. And then on the inside we have little foam applicators for the lip glosses themselves. They're a little bit more of a pointed tip than the liquid eyeshadows had. Those were a little bit flatter for application on the eyes, and then these are a little bit more fine pointed for application on the lips. So again, we have this beautiful red, we've got a beautiful yellow shade, and then the last one is this really fun blue shade. So I'm really excited to get to jump into the swatches of these. I'm really excited to see how pigmented they are. Of course, these are lip glosses, so they may be a little bit more sheer, but they are such pretty colors. So I'm really hoping those colors really stand out and show a difference between the 3 glosses. So let's go ahead and look at those swatches now. I thought all 3 of these lip glosses swatched beautifully, and like I said, I was not sure how much they would show the pigment of each one, but they definitely do. You can really see a distinct red, yellow, and blue on the swatches. I did the same thing with the swatches on the lip glosses that I did with the liquid eyeshadows, and I went ahead and did it with all my lights on, and then I turned them off and just shone a flashlight on them. And I really wanted to see if we could really see the difference between just the color of the glosses and then these little particles of glitter that are on the inside of the glosses, because they are really pretty and they definitely do pick up just a little bit of glitter and that little bit of extra shimmer that takes it from being just kind of this jelly-like liquid lip gloss and turns it more into a little bit of a shine and a little bit more texture to it. And so I'm hoping we can see that pretty well when the lights are off, be able to see those little bits of shimmery glitter in the lip glosses. But overall, I thought these were really pretty. I'm really excited to wear them. They felt really nice on the skin. They were very smooth. Like I said, they kind of had a jelly-like texture to them. They had a little bit of kind of that 2000s lip gloss kind of feel to them. They're just a little bit on the thicker side, but they were really nice. And like I said, they were very pigmented in the swatches. So I'm really curious to see how these are going to look if I put on a lip liner and really make a lip combo out of these and really be able to see how they perform with other products and apply on the lips. So I'm going to do my eyeshadow look today, and then I'm going to decide which one of these shades I would like to use. I'm leaning towards either the red or the blue, but I'm really curious to see how they're going to look with the eyeshadow. So that's what we're going to take a look at next, is the swatches of the eyeshadow palette. The packaging on the eyeshadow palette is so cool. It definitely captures the 80s vibes of the show and really represents that through this TV with the VHS down here representing the first season, chapter 1 of the show. And so this entire collection clearly represents the first season very well. It doesn't really dip too much into some of the later season, but I think this is a really cool package. It's so fun with that TV on the front. And then this is the outer carton, and so when we take the actual eyeshadow palette out, it does look different. I love that. A lot of times the outer carton looks the same as the palette, but I love that there's a little bit of versatility here. We've got their really cool logo. It's got a little shine to it, and then we've got all our main characters biking like they usually do in the show, and then all of these creepy vines growing around the edges. It's really cool. It's got a really cool shine on the vines. It's got a lot of kind of interdimensional vibes going on in just the packaging. So I think they were very creative with how they designed everything. And then on the inside, there is a protective sleeve. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out. And then this is what the palette looks like from the top part and the actual eyeshadow palette. I think this is a really fun and creative touch to the eyeshadow palette. We've got the Demogorgon up here, and we've got the name, and of course everything is flipped upside down to represent the upside down in the show. So I think that is really cool and really clever. And then down here we've got our eyeshadows, and I think it is really fun. They've got the top half looking like Hawkins and the map of Hawkins, and then down here we've got those underground vines growing in. So you can definitely tell that the eyeshadows represent the different halves. This top half of the eyeshadows is much lighter, much brighter, has a lot more life to it, and then the ones down here are a lot deeper and grungier and definitely represent the upside down and represent just kind of that creepy vibe going on. So I think it is so fun and so smart the way that they designed this palette. I think the shades in here are absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to swatch them. I am particularly excited about the upside down, this beautiful kind of shimmery blue shade down here. I think it is really, really pretty in the pan, and I can't wait to see how it shows up on the swatches. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at those now. This palette swatched even more beautifully than I thought that it would. It is so rich and so pigmented on all of the shades in here. Of course, this bottom half that represents the upside down is a lot more deep and dark, and there is just so much depth and so much kind of grunginess to this palette. It is really, really pretty. I was very shocked by the shade 1983, this beautiful kind of light gold and silver iridescent shimmer. It was absolutely gorgeous on the swatches. Even this yellow that is called Waffle Thief, of course that's perfect for 11 and her Eggo waffles that she loves. And then Chief of Police, which are some of the lighter shades in this palette, were incredibly pigmented. They had such just deep, rich colors to them. So I think even just some of the more neutral shades in here, like I said, Chief of Police and D&D, which are some of the two more just kind of neutral or nude type shades in this palette, were very rich and very dynamic. So I definitely feel like you could make a little bit more of a neutral look with this palette, but it would still have a lot of pigmentation and a lot of depth to it. This shade 11 is so beautiful. It's just a nice light pink that I think would really blend in nicely with especially this red, or would look really nice with some of these pops of blue shimmer. I love that there is a black matte in here. It is called the Void. It is very deep, very dark, and a perfect black matte. And then all of these blue shimmers are so pretty. They are so dynamic and so different from one another. There is the shade Hungry for Blood, which is sort of a light blue, silver, iridescent kind of shimmer. The upside down was as beautiful as I hoped it would be. It has some really nice flakes of blue and silver shimmer in it. It is absolutely gorgeous in the swatches. And then there's a shade called Alt Dimension, and this one was kind of shocking when I took the swatch. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of sort of a turquoise blue shimmer, but it really has more of a brown base with some blue shimmer in it. So I thought it was really cool and a really unique shade, and I thought it applied really well in the swatches. The shades The Gate and Demogorgon are a deep kind of bluish green, kind of turquoise shade, and then a deep red. And I think both of those are really beautiful mattes, and they are very pigmented, and they go really nicely with this palette, and I think are going to really create a lot of depth and drama to any look that you want to make. And then this beautiful red shade, Hawkins, is a nice, beautiful, rich red shimmer, and I absolutely love that. I think that would be so pretty all over the lid. So I definitely think there is a lot of option in this palette to be able to create, kind of go from light to dark, really create a lot of looks with drama and dimension and depth to them. You can really add some really deep shimmers to create a very moody look. Of course, you can keep it up here on the top half, the normal area in Hawkins. Everything is very light, very airy and normal up here, and then we've got this depth and this grunge down here in the upside down. So I just think there is a lot of creativity in this palette. I feel like looking at the swatches, the color story is a little bit all over the place, but it goes together really well. Like this pop of yellow and this pop of pink, they still go really nicely with all the other shades, and I think would be really good for transition shades or inner corner highlights because they are so pigmented. So I'm really excited to create a look. I think I do want to go a little bit into the reds and a little bit into some of these blue shimmers in this look. So I'm excited just to kind of dive in, just to explore these shades and have some fun creating a look with you today. I went ahead and primed my eyes off camera with my Pigment Pop Eye Primer from Ulta Beauty Collection. And then I'm going to jump in with a fluffy blending brush. This is from the Beauté Paletteopoly collection. This is P2. And I think for my crease, which is where I'm going to start, I would like to go a little bit more on the neutral side. So I'm going to start out with these beautiful shades over here. So I'm going to start out with Chief of Police and blend that into D&D. I mentioned those as I talked about the swatches. I think those are going to be really nice just to create a very neutral look, and then we can really add a lot more color with some of the darker matte and with some of these shimmers. So I'm going to jump first into Chief of Police and just pick up a little bit of that on my brush and start to apply this in the crease coming from the inner corner. And like I said, even this light shade is very, very pigmented. You can see I've barely put any product, and it's starting to already show up very nicely on my crease. Even though it is a little bit more of a nude shade, it's not much darker in the pan than my skin tone, but when I apply it, it definitely pops on the skin. And of course that white Pigment Pop Eye Primer definitely helps with that too. So I'm going to take this about halfway across my crease, just starting to build up some pigment and just starting to make sure that I don't have any gaps between my crease and my eyelid. So I'm just kind of pulling it down here into my eye socket and just kind of blending it in there. But it's such a pretty shade. It is just very nice, very neutral, but it definitely has some depth to it. So now as I'm continuing across my crease, I'm going into that next darker shade, D&D, and I'm just picking a little bit up on my brush, and just right where I finished with that Chief of Police shade, I'm going to start blending the D&D shade in. And this one has just a little bit more of kind of a red or orange tone to it. It's got a little bit more warmth than the Chief of Police shade, but I think that's going to be really pretty. And I do have some red in my top, so I do want to include some red in my eyeshadow look today. So I'm pulling this pretty close to the end of my eye over here on the outer corner, not quite all the way. I am going to add a little bit more depth to the outer corner, but I'm just going to start to just kind of blend this most of the second half of my crease. So that is really pretty. I think now I'm going to go ahead and continue down this row or this column over here, and I'm going to go into Demogorgon. I think that is a really beautiful, rich, kind of deep red, and so I do want to play a little bit more on some of the reds in this look. So I'm going to pick a little bit of that up on the same brush and go ahead and start to apply this more in the inner corner. I think this is a really pretty shade, and I love that it's in the upside down section of the palette because it is red, but you can see it's not a very bright, rich red. It's very deep and very grungy looking, which is really pretty, and I think it's going to go really nicely in this look and really create a lot of depth here. So I'm just kind of starting to apply this in the outer corner, pulling it down onto my lid, And I'm also pulling it up into my crease so that I don't have any harsh line. I'm just using soft circular motion and blending it into that D&D shade. So I don't want to completely overpower it, but I definitely want it to blend in very nicely. So just kind of going back and forth and blending that in. That is such a pretty shade, and it is definitely starting to create a much more smoky dimensional outer corner. And I think that looks really nice for this look. So I am just kind of blending that in until I'm happy with the consistency. And I think I am now. I think that looks really nice. So now I'm going to just finish out this column over here that we were working on. And I'm going to dip into that matte black. This one again is called The Void. It is really pretty, really rich, and very pigmented. So I'm excited to see this on a look and really create a smoky outer corner. So I'm going to keep this more towards the actual lid, and I'm going to start to apply it just right here over top that Demogorgon shade, and just using circular motion blending it in and really starting just to mix it into those other pigments. And I'm going to just pick up a little bit more and start to move a little bit into the crease. I do not want to cover up that red shade. I just want to blend it in and start to create some smokiness and some depth. So I'm just using a little bit of pigment at a time, picking up more as needed and blending this in. It is really, really pretty. You can definitely start to see that black depth and dimension that is showing up. I'm going to pull a little bit more in because I do want this look to be very dark and very smoky. I'm going to just continue to add more. And just, again, adding a little bit at a time. A little bit with black goes a long way. So I'm just going to use just a little hint of it as I go. I'm going to just go back and forth with my different shades and continue to build up the pigment the way that I want. So I'm going to go back into that red Demogorgon shade and pick up a little bit more. And you can see I'm really just adding that color back into the look that got covered with the black. So I'm just mixing this all together and blending everything. I'm going to grab a little bit more of that D&D shade. That was the second brown shade that we used. And just make sure that I don't lose that pigment. I do still have some of this black on my brush as I'm blending these other colors. So you can see it's really starting to create a lot more dimension to the look. Everything is blending. It's not any one shade starting and another one starting. They're all just kind of flowing into each other. So I think this looks really nice and really pretty. And it's definitely creating a lot of depth. So I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth with all my shades until I get the exact blend that I would like to have on this look. And I think that looks really nice. It's very pigmented, very deep and dark. And I'm really excited just to kind of lighten this up with some shimmer, but also continue to add some depth with some of the deeper shimmers from the upside down section of the palette. So we're going to go ahead and start to apply some shimmer onto the lid. I also do think I want to jump a little bit into one of those liquid eyeshadows just to kind of try it out and use it in a look. So I'm going to just kind of see how I can sort of mix and blend, use as many shades as I can, and really create a very shimmery, very interesting and very unique look today. I went ahead and applied some of my NYX glitter primer onto my lid, and so that way we can really pack some of these shimmers on. I do think for this outer half of my lid, I do want to use one of these liquid eyeshadows. I'm going to be using the shade Interdimensional. When I took the swatch of this one showed up a little bit more on the blue and purple side with a little bit of sort of a silver shift to it. And I think that's going to look really pretty with the shimmers I'm planning to use from the eyeshadow palette today. So I'm going to take the applicator and I'm just going to apply this on sort of this outer half of my lid, and I'm going to apply it sort of where I have this black, and I think it's going to look really nice over the black just to add a lot more kind of depth to the liquid shadow. So I'm just going to take the applicator and very gently start to apply this on this outer half of my lid and just start to add a little bit of kind of shimmer and dimension to this look. And it is really pretty. You can definitely see as you apply it the shift with the blue and the purple. And I think that's a lot of fun. I'm not going to go overboard on it. I'm just going to apply just that little bit, and I think it's going to add a lot of dimension to this look. And so now I do want to start to jump into the shimmers on the eyeshadow palette. So I'm going to use this shade. I'm really excited about this one, and I really think it'll look really fun with this look. So this one again is called the Upside Down. and it is a beautiful kind of shifty turquoise kind of shimmer. For this one, I'm going to go in with an Ulta Beauty Collection flat shadow brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that shimmer on my brush, and I'm going to apply that on sort of this inner half of my lid. And again, I put some NYX glitter primer down so it'll catch some of those glitter particles and hopefully help prevent a lot of fallout. And I'm just going to press this glitter onto my lid, and it is really, really pretty. And it is very shimmery and very shiny on the lid, so I really like how that looks. I'm going to just continue to press the glitter onto my lid all the way on this entire inner half of my lid, and I'm just going to kind of connect where it starts to meet into that liquid shadow and just sort of blend these two together. I am going to grab some on the very end of my brush, and I'm going to use that to sort of go along this line where my lid and my crease meet so that I don't have any gaps in my shadow. Everything will just kind of look all connected and blended. I did kind of do the same thing with the liquid shadow as I applied it, so I don't want there to be kind of a bump on the liquid shadow and then sort of an open space where my crease meets with my lid over here with the glitter. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing and just making sure that the liquid shadow and the glitter shadow are meeting in the middle. And I think these look really nice together, and I think that shift of kind of turquoise blue in the interdimensional liquid shadow are going to look really nice with this shimmer. I think that is really fun. I think it's just very fun and creative and cool. I'm really happy with how that looks. I do think I want to add maybe just a little bit more dimension and a little bit more lightness to this look. So I think I'm going to go in with this shade right here. This one was called Hungry for Blood. This one is a gorgeous shade. It's sort of a blue and silver mix, and it's just a very nice light shimmer. So I think I'm just going to pick a little bit of that up on my finger, and I'm going to just start to tap it onto this look, I think more towards the inner corner, and just put it over that glitter that we applied, and just start to kind of blend that in a little bit, just to add a little bit more depth to this look and kind of lighten up that inner corner. I think that looks really pretty. I'm using a clean finger, just kind of pulling on that shadow a little bit and just sort of blending it in so that it's not having any harsh lines, and it just blends in really nicely. But I think all of those shades are starting to look really fun and really pretty together. I'll probably go in with a little bit more of those matte shades that we used before and kind of clean up this outer corner just a little bit. I do think I pulled the liquid shadow up just a little too high into the crease, so I'm going to kind of pick some of that off and blend in those other matte shadows, and then we're going to start working a little bit more on the lower lash line. I think that looks really pretty and really fun. I think I've blended everything in really nicely, so now we're going to start moving into the lower lash line. For this one, I'm going to use another Ace Beauté Paletteopoly brush, and this one is P4. And I'm going to go into this beautiful shade down here. This one is called The Gate. This one is a little bit more kind of that bluish green leaning shade, and I think it's going to go really nicely with the shimmers that we applied. So I'm going to pick a little bit of that up on my brush and just start to line that underneath my lash line, and just really pulling all the way across the lower lash line and just applying that shade. And it is a really beautiful deep dark shade, so it's going to create a nice deep line here along the lower lash line. I'm pulling it up a little bit into the outer corner just so I don't have any gaps here where my lower lash line meets the outer corner on the top, and just blending all of that nicely together. It is a really, really pretty shade. I think it goes really nicely with this look and is definitely adding a little bit more depth and dimension. And I think it matches the shimmers that we're using really well. I am going to go back into that larger fluffy blending brush. I did clean it off. Remember, this was P2. And I'm going to go back in and I'm going to grab some of this beautiful pink shade 11. And I'm going to use that to sort of buff out a little bit of this shade on the lower lash line. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of that pink shade and just kind of go along the bottom and just sort of blend this in so that it's a little bit more softened on the bottom and just has a little bit more of a blend to it. This pink shade is pretty light, and using a fluffy blending brush is really helping me just kind of disperse that color so it's not very, very pink, but I'm just using it just to soften this lower lash line. And I'm going to pull it up a little bit, I think, on this outer corner over here, and just kind of pull it up into my crease just to continue to blend out all of my shadows, because I do think that looks really nice and is definitely helping to kind of soften this look a little bit and giving it just a little bit more of just kind of a gentleness, especially because all of these shades are so dark and so deep. I really like how that looks. I think that pink is blending in very nicely and just creating a very soft, kind of elegant look to this eyeshadow look. So I think now I do want to pull a little bit more on the red. So I'm going to go into this really beautiful bright red shade here. This one's called Hawkins. It is a nice, beautiful red shimmer. And I'm going to use that same P4 brush that I used for the Gate shade on the bottom of my waterline, my lower lash line. I'm going to wipe it off just a little bit, get that really deep bluish green shade off. And then I'm going to grab some of this Hawkins shade on the end of my brush. I'm going to give it a quick spritz of setting spray just so I've got a little bit of tackiness to it. And then I'm going to apply this right here towards the inner corner just to add a little depth of red to this look, because it is mostly kind of that blue turquoise kind of shading. Of course, we do have that Demogorgon shade over here, so I think this is going to mirror that very nicely by having just a little pop of red towards the inner corner. And that looks really pretty. It is blending in really nicely. It's kind of pulling some of that Gate shade into the red, so it's deepening it a little bit. So I'm just continuing to build up the pigment until it's as red as I want. But I think that looks really nice and really just kind of adds a little bit more dimension to this look. So for my last shade, I'm going to go with an inner corner highlight, and I'm going to use that beautiful 1983 shade. It was that really pretty iridescent kind of gold and silver shimmer, and I think this one was a little bit more on the kind of sparse side with the glitter, so it's definitely a good inner corner highlight or a good topper shade. So I'm going to pick some of that up on a Real Techniques brush, just a little detailing brush. Again, give it a quick spritz of setting spray, and then I'm going to apply this just as, again, an inner corner highlight, and just start to kind of pop some of this in. And I think this is a really pretty shade because even as I'm applying it, I see a little bit of red glitter that I think goes really nicely right beside that Hawkins shade. And then of course it's got some yellow, it's got some gold, silver, it's got a lot of different dimensional pieces to it. And I think that's really pretty and really helps to kind of tie this whole look together. That is absolutely gorgeous. I really like how this is looking. And so we've had a chance to use the eyeshadow palette and the liquid eyeshadow, and I'm really excited to choose a lip gloss to go along with this look. So let's go ahead and take a look at the glosses and decide which one we think looks the best. Glosses, and I think for this look, of course, I'm not really going to go with yellow. We're leaning a little bit more into the reds and the blues on the eyeshadow, but I do feel like I have a lot of blue here, so I don't think I'm going to use the blue one today. I am very excited to use the blue. I think it's a really fun lip gloss color, but I think the red is going to match this look the best today. So I'm going to go in with a red lip liner from Ulta Beauty Collection. This is one of their automatic lip liners in the shade Ruby Red, and I'm going to apply a little bit of the liner, and then we're going to top it off with that beautiful red gloss. Alright, so now we have our lip liner. We're going to go ahead and add this beautiful gloss. So I'm going to use the applicator again. It's got a nice little point on the end, and I think that's going to really help to apply the lip gloss very nicely. So just going to continue to build up until I get the pigment that I want. It goes on very smooth. It is very soft, very kind of, it does feel very jelly-like as you apply it. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I think that lip liner looks really nice with it. It adds a little bit of depth to the lip gloss. That is really pretty. It is very glossy, very shiny. I definitely can see more of the gloss aspect. I don't really see a lot of the actual glitter pieces, so those don't necessarily transfer as you apply it. I'm not sure if these are supposed to be scented, but they smell really good. They kind of have just sort of a sweet smell to them. This one almost kind of has a little bit of sort of a strawberry taste when you apply it, and so that goes really nicely with that red theme. But I think that lip gloss is really pretty. I think it goes very nicely with the lip liner that I applied, and I think it looked really pretty with this eyeshadow. So I'm very excited about this entire collection. I do want to go ahead and finish up my look. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other eye that we did over here, and then I'll be back in just a moment. I'll go ahead and apply all my finishing details, and we'll start to wrap up the video. And here is our final look. I think this is so pretty. It just turned out just so deep, so dark, so grungy. And I'm really just excited about this look. For my finishing details, I went ahead and just tightlined on the top with a little bit of black. This is from Ulta Beauty Collection. It's their automatic eyeliner in matte black. And then for my lower waterline, I really wanted to pull on that beautiful kind of bluish green shade. So I went in with an Epic Wear eyeliner stick from NYX, and this was in the shade Turquoise Storm. It is really pretty and just has a lot of depth to it. And then for my mascara, I just went in with my Tarte Waterproof Maneater mascara, and that was it. This was a very deep and dark look just from the eyeshadows that we applied, so it didn't need a lot of finishing details. But again, I'm so happy with how this turned out. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in for a closer look at our final look, and then I'll just share some of my initial thoughts about the Stranger Things collection. I really enjoyed getting to use this ColourPop and Stranger Things collection today. This was so much fun. All of these products were so beautiful. Starting out, we took a look at the liquid eyeshadows, this chrome liquid eyeshadow duo, and I thought the packaging on everything was spot on. Everything was just so fun. Everything was just perfectly curated just to match the show, especially that first season. We've got the creepiness of the Demogorgons, we've got the lightness of Hawkins, and then just all of the kind of 80s vibes to everything is just so much fun. For those liquid eyeshadows, I thought these were great. The quality of these is really nice. They definitely have that chrome feel to them. They have a little bit of a foil, especially when they dry down on the skin. They really apply very nicely. They feel really good to the touch, and I definitely don't feel like they're going to smudge or move around as I'm wearing them once they've had a chance to dry. We did use this beautiful interdimensional shade on this look today on the outer half of the lid. I thought it applied really nicely. It was very easy to apply with just that small kind of square shaped applicator. It was perfectly designed just to really get on that small space on your eyelid. So I definitely didn't feel like it was difficult to apply. I did, as I applied, got a little bit up into my crease, but going through and being able to use the eyeshadows from the eyeshadow palette just to go back over top these liquid shadows was very easy. I was able to just kind of use my fingernail and pull off a little bit of excess that ended up in my crease. There was no problem with it. It came off very easily, and so it's definitely very adaptable as you're applying it until it dries down to be able to take some off and just kind of fix where you had it. So it's definitely very moldable in that way. I thought the shade, the interdimensional shade that we used today, was absolutely gorgeous. It matches this look perfectly. It goes really well with the eyeshadow palette. So I'm overall very happy with the chrome liquid eyeshadow duo. The next thing that we took a look at was the lip gloss trio. The Talk to Me lip gloss trio is absolutely gorgeous. I love the packaging. This is one of my favorite parts of this entire collection. I know I said that earlier, but I really mean it. It is just so cute, and it was designed perfectly. It matches the show and just the scenes of the show so well, and really is just such a good callback to what happens in the series. I think the packaging is so cute. I love the Christmas lights here, and then those little cutouts to show the Christmas lights on the inside. And then of course, as you take that little sleeve out of the outer box, and you've got the 3 beautiful lip glosses on the inside. Again, I really like the containers that they have the individual lip glosses in. That beautiful kind of rounded shape is very unique. It's very pretty and definitely continues on that theme of the Christmas lights. And then getting to use the lip gloss today was really nice. I really enjoyed applying it. It has a really good smell, a really good kind of taste to it, and it is just really pretty and light on the lip. Again, there is some glitter particles in the actual lip glosses, which you don't necessarily see on the lips, but it's got a very nice kind of jelly gloss texture to it that is very nice, and it feels really nice to wear. And then of course there are the other 2 shades, that beautiful yellow that I think is really pretty and is definitely going to add a lot of lightness to a look, and then that blue, which is really fun. It's very unique and very different, and so I really enjoyed getting just to take a look at each one of these different shades and how they swatched on the skin. Like I said, I wasn't sure. Sometimes with glosses they look like a color in a package, but when you apply them they kind of just come out as a clear gloss, or they all just kind of look the same. But that is not the case with these lip glosses. They are all very different, very unique, and they have their own shade to them, and they definitely look like the shade that's in the package. So as someone who loves colorful makeup, I really love that, and I think they're great quality. And of course the packaging and the theming of it is on point, so of course I love the lip glosses, and I think they were really great quality. And of course the biggest part of this collection is going to be the eyeshadow palette. I thought the packaging on the outer carton looking like the TV with the VHS tape was so cool and so fun, and really matches just the 80s theme and vibe of the series and of this collection. And I love that the eyeshadow palette itself looks different on the outside. It's got a lot more of a callback to the show and the characters, and then having the Demogorgon on the top on the inside being upside down is a really cool touch, and definitely is very creepy, very cool, and matches the theme of the show. And then the eyeshadows themselves are absolutely gorgeous. This is such a beautiful palette. Like I said, there's kind of a lot of different things happening here, but when I swatch them and look at the entire color story together, I feel like it really is very cohesive. It looks so nice together and just has so much richness, so much depth, so much vibrancy to every single shade in here, of course even including these lighter shades. I'm really happy with this look that we made today, getting to really kind of blend the Hawkins part and the upside down part together into a look. I think it really came together very nicely and really blended together well. I love these little pops of red that we were able to include in this look, and then of course having some of these beautiful blue shimmers along with the liquid eyeshadow really helped to just create such a beautiful and dynamic look, and has so much depth to it. And I am in love with this 1983 shade. Having that here on the inner corner is so pretty, and it's so much fun. It's got so much lightness, and overall I just thought that this entire collection, at least the pieces that I picked up, and of course this eyeshadow palette, were just a 10 out of 10. This was such a fun collection. It perfectly captures the vibe of the show, and then all of the shades in here, all of the products, and the quality of the product are amazing. So I'm so excited that I was able to get my hands on this collection. I know I was a little late to it, but it's just so much fun. I'm so excited to be able to add this to my makeup collection. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video today. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the ColourPop X Stranger Things collection with me, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below all your thoughts about this look that we created today. And out of all of these products, did you pick any of them up? I'd love to talk to you about the show, and I would love to hear which one of these was your favorite product from the collection. If you enjoyed this video, please take a second just to hit that like button. It's quick and easy to do, and it really helps me out and really helps out my channel when you do. And if you would like to see more makeup content and more makeup tutorial and fun pop culture collections like this, then please consider subscribing to my channel. Until next time, let's be kind to each other, beautiful to ourselves, and never afraid to make up the rules.